Hello, everybody. It's your immigration attorney, Ruiz, and I'm here with you today because I want to help you get ready for your citizenship interview. By this point, you've already filed your N-400, or maybe you're doing a little bit of research, trying to get ready to file it. So I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to talk to you about your interview, how that's like, what it's going to be like, and the questions that they may ask, and just the process of the interview itself. I won't be talking generally about the citizenship process or the qualifications or the requirements. What we're talking about is once you filed, your interview scheduled, what happens. So once you file your application, you'll go get your fingerprints done, and then several months later, you'll get a letter in the mail saying, hey, you need to come in at this time to this address so that we can do your citizenship interview, so that we can determine if you're going to be a U.S. citizen or not. So once you get your your interview notice, you'll go to your interview. You'll be called back into the back offices where interviews are conducted. There is a lot of different little steps that must happen from the moment you get there to the time you get called back, but those vary by offices. So the Houston office has a different process than maybe the Chicago office or the LA office. So for that reason, I'm not going to talk about the pre-interview steps of what happens on your day of the interview. Those all vary by offices. So I'm just going to focus on what all officers do. And that is they begin the interview with your civics test, your reading test, and your writing test. So as you know, you have to be able to answer at least 6 questions correctly about the history of the United States, civics, the Constitution, and just important things that are here for people who live in the United States. You will get asked no more than 10 questions, and of those 10, you must get 6 correct. So if you get the first 6 questions correct, they will only ask you 6 questions. Once you pass that part of the test, they're going to have you read a sentence. And that sentence is based off of the same questions that you've been studying. For example, when you'll do your test, they'll ask you your 6 questions. You got all of them right on the first try, so you only had to get 6 questions. Then they're going to ask you to read this sentence, and the sentence will be something like, who lives at the White House? Who was the first president of the United States? And you'll read it out loud, and then they will have you write it out, write the answer out. So you'll say, the president lives in the White House, or George Washington was the first president of the United States. You'll write that answer, the officer will verify it, and once all 3 of those steps are done, you've answered the civics question, you've read the sentence, and you've written an answer, and you passed everything, what that officer is going to do is some of them let you know that you passed, others just move on. The next part of your interview is where they review your application. They're going to go over your basic information. They're going to ask you your name, your date of birth. Anything on the application, they will ask you about, or they can ask you about. We've seen some officers that go line by line and just we go through the whole application. There are other officers that pick and choose some answers. A lot of officers will have reviewed your file beforehand and they're pretty satisfied on some stuff, but they still ask other things. This is the judgment call for the officer, what to ask, what not to ask. At the end of the day, as long as the officer is satisfied that you qualify for the requirements of citizenship, then they will be able to approve you. So questions, anything relating to your application is fair game. So anything on there, they ask you about taxes, criminal history. They ask you about your family members, your children, your marriages, and all of that is fair game. They ask you if you've ever been a drunk, if you've been a drug user or abuser. There's a lot of questions on the application. As you know, once you review it, you'll know that there's about 4 to 5 pages of just questions that they're able to ask you. If you are applying under the 3-year rule, that's a special rule for people who were married to a U.S. citizen and continue to be married to a U.S. citizen. They get to apply under the 3-year rule instead of the general 5-year rule. If you are applying under the 3-year rule, you do have to prove that you are still in a good faith marriage. So if you were married, you applied for your permanent resident card, it was issued. It's now been 3 years. You qualify for citizenship if you're still married. If you're no longer married, you'll have to wait the general 5 years. So if you are applying under the special 3-year rule, you must be able to prove that you're still in a good faith marriage. So the officer will ask for more bona fides, more proof that you are in that good faith marriage. Now, what we do here in our office is that we take care of everything for our clients, and we do a mock interview. We do a prep interview with our clients 2 weeks before the interview, their actual interview, so that we can prep them, so that we can spot any mistakes. If they're nervous, we can help them calm down. Maybe they won't pass the test because they haven't been studying. It's a good reminder for them, because when I sit them down, I'll do a full mock interview where I pretend I'm the officer, and I will tell them, your application is denied. You haven't passed the test. It's a shock. So, we do that 2 weeks prior to the interview so that we can correct any mistakes, so that you can study if you're not going to pass the test. Because if you can't pass it here with me, you're not going to pass it with immigration. Now, a lot of our clients are really thankful for this process that we do here, where we do the mock interview, because there are never any surprises at their interviews. What we prepare them for, what I prepare them for, because I do it personally, all the preparation is done with me. So an interview prep and a mock interview is done directly with me, and I will grill them on everything on the application. Now, like I said, some officers go through it line by line. There are some officers that are more strict. They're, maybe having a bad day. So I always prep my clients for the worst case scenario. And all of our clients are always ready for their interview. Whatever mistakes we make at the first step, at the mock interview with me, will be corrected by the time we get to their real interview. Now, whether I go or don't go to the interview, because that is optional. Some clients don't need me there, and that's okay. We'll prep their application. We'll mail everything out for them. We'll be overseeing the case, but I just won't be there at the interview. For those people, we still do a mock interview, and if I have to be at the interview because of our client's request or because there's some issues in the case that might come up, then I'll be there. But regardless, whether I'm there or not, all of my clients are prepared for the interview. There won't be any surprises because we've prepped them well enough. As you know, I'm your immigration attorney, Ruiz, and I'm here to help you. If you need help with applying for citizenship and you want to be prepared and ready for your interview, give me a call. I'm here to help.